Okay, three races down on the bike side of progressive GNCC racing. We're joined by Cody Barnes today. We'll bring in some more XC2 riders also because it's really been quite the wild start to the season. Cody Barnes from the Phoenix Honda team, Jason Weigandt, Johnny Gallagher here to ask the questions. But the first, the hilarious thing is that you and Johnny are actually literally next door neighbors right now. You're both at Caleb Russell's place right now.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Me and Johnny have been hanging out. He's been joining me. We've been swimming some. He's been my swim coach. But no, it's been good. We're like, I think he just said like 250 feet apart from where my camper is and his camper. So it's quite funny. But no, it's been good having him here and hanging out with him. And yeah, it's been a good time.
So Cody, first off, not your swim coach. Cody's like a dolphin in the pool, and I do my best to get my yardage or meters in without drowning. I'm happy to go with him so he doesn't have to drive all the way to the YMCA by himself. But Cody, let's get a little background information. Obviously, we can start talking about your results this year, but let's go a little further back than that. For those that may not be familiar with Cody Barnes. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, who you are, and how you got started in GNCC.
Yeah, so originally I'm from Illinois, small town Sterling, Illinois. We had a couple of local wood series put on by Bill Gussie and Ron Whipple, and those were the two series that I kind of grew up doing throughout my whole entire career. And I raced another couple of off-road series, a Garahan Ward series, another Hare Scramble series, and kind of just progressed. And it wasn't really until I got into the A ranks and stuff that we would go to Crawfordsville, Indiana. That was the closest one for us, only 4 hours away. So on Super Mini and growing up, I would go attend that one, but it wasn't until really I started winning the pro class around my local area that I started branching off and going to some Indiana series, IXCR and those ones. And I started doing good in the pro class. So I think it was 2016. We went to, I believe it was the Limestone GNCC. And it was a mudder, tons, like I had never even rode a track like that. And I got smoked in 258. I think I got like eighth. And later on that year, I started swimming with some older triathlon guys and kind of got started on the fitness path and went to Ironman later on that year. And I won 250A and I think I got second amateur or something like that. So it was like a complete turnaround. So then in 2017, the one of the older guys that I trained with, his name was Conklin. He always went to the first and second round of GNCC. That's when it was, I believe it was Big Buck and then Florida the following week in 2017. So I had this great scheme. Me and him were going to load up in his motorhome and we were just going to head out to the first two rounds. And my parents ended up going with me and I won 250A in top amateur. Met you for the first time, Johnny, up on the podium. And I was like, man, maybe I can make something out of this. So me and my parents, we ran the whole series that year, and that was my first year racing GNCC in 2017. So it's crazy to think that I went from just some small kid in Illinois to being able to hang out with yourself, Caleb, and make this my job and kind of turn go to other countries now. It's pretty surreal to me.
That's
Yeah,
wild how that works sometimes.
that's the
Yeah.
backstory on me.
No, that's great. That's great. And this year, there's a lot of spotlight on your class because guys are winning overalls, guys are physically winning the races. Who knows? One of you could end up having the number one plate by the end of the year. How has it been for you with these ridiculous conditions that everybody's been dealing with?
Yeah, it's been good, honestly. For me, like the past couple of years, Big Buck in Florida hasn't really been great races for me. So to be able to have like all within the top five finishes, top five at Big Buck, and then two podiums back to back, it's been good. The conditions, man, we've been hit with two of probably the gnarliest mud races that I've done while I've been racing GNCC. So definitely challenging conditions, and it is wild how far up we're getting in the overalls now. I think I was fifth overall at the last one and like 6 seconds off of the overall podium. So like we're very competitive and it's good. It is wild to see Grant Davis, I believe, is the overall points leader right now. So it's times I think it's like with any sport, it's just progression and these younger kids, they're a product almost of GNCC. They've grown up watching the sport their whole entire lives and coming through the ranks of GNCC, and I think that shows quite a bit.
So, Cody, you talk about times are changing, and Weed, you can attest to this. There was this long-standing, I guess, when's it going to happen? When's XC2 going to win an overall? Going all the way back to Thad Duvall nearly beating out David Knight, to give you an idea of how long ago it was at Snowshoe. And it was like, oh, he was so close. He had it until the final miles and he threw it away. And it was like, well, it's going to happen any day now. Then weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and over a decade passes. And then suddenly, once it happens, Josh Toth, obviously 2024 at Georgia, the floodgates are open. Since then, we've had, Josh winning an overall, Grant Davis with 2 overalls, and then Nick DeFeo, the first ever physical overall winner from XC2, and followed, by so many XC2 riders on the podium. Just quickly, what's your take on kind of how that's coming together and what factors are lining up that you guys are just getting so much closer to the front and able to hang there for the entire 3 hours?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think XC2, kind of from my first year that I joined, we always just sprinted right off the bat was how like it always seemed to be to me. And then those XC1 guys, they have the tough part of especially those mud races, picking the lines, like not getting stuck. And I think it was like Ben Kelly got stuck at Big Buck, he said, within the first couple of miles, and he looked back and Nick DeFeo and Josh Toth, those guys are already right on him. So I think that's honestly a big part of it is they kind of have the hard part of finding the lines, and we kind of just get to follow. Like we can see where they're riding and what lines they're taking. I think that helps a little bit, but I think honestly it's just progression. I mean, I don't really know so much, but that's like kind of what I think about it. I think just everyone's on good programs now. The bikes are very good on every platform pretty much, and I think you could probably go down the starting line of the XC2 guys, and every single one of them, has either training partners or coaches or something along those lines. And I think it's just everything has taken that next step up to, and I think that gap's getting smaller, where I think it used to maybe be a bigger difference of bikes, and maybe there wasn't as many people in XC2 able to just focus on training and riding. They had to work and things like that, where now it's kind of, if you want to be at the top of XC2, you kind of can't do that because the levels progress so much. And same thing with XC1. The level's so high, those guys, you can't work a job and focus on this full time. And yeah, it's hard.
I'm glad you mentioned the platform because we've been kind of waiting for that breakthrough of your team, Phoenix Honda, to prove they can win races like anybody else, because the Kawi team has now done it. Multiple Kawi teams have done it. The Yamaha team's always been there. The Austrian brands win all the time. Yeah, so you feel like at this point, your bike, the Honda 250, and your team, it's right there with anyone.
Yeah, no, I think honestly it is. Our bikes are really good, and it's like anything. It's slowly. Not, I wouldn't even say slowly, but it's progressed every year that I've been on it. I believe this is my 5th year with the Phoenix Honda team. So to see the progression of the team since 2021 was my first year with them, to see the progression of them and everything that every year it gets more and more, the resources that we get, the, just the whole overall team package gets stronger every year, I feel like. And yeah, I mean, I've been able to have some success. I've won some XC2 races and won a Sprint Enduro Championship in Pro 2. So I mean, it's just really piecing it all together, and it's hard. There's a lot of fast guys in XC2. Same way with XC1. The top right now to get inside the top 10. I mean, none of them are slow riders by any means, and even the top 20, for instance. I mean, to think like there's to get inside the top 20, it's hard work. It's hard to do that.
So, Cody, you mentioned obviously it's been quite the ride for you in a pretty short amount of time, coming from relative unknown regional series racer to now a factory, Phoenix Honda, which is Honda's factory effort and GNCC rider. You've got all the backing, you've got all the resources. What are the immediate goals, and what is kind of what's your target for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, my target is I want to win. I want to win races, and I think we're close. I need to just kind of piece it all together. But yeah, I would say my goal is I want to win races, and I want to be battling for the championship. I don't want to be another distant third place again. I want to be up there battling with those guys and competing for those wins. So I mean, that's my goal for GNCC this year is I want to win and hopefully be contending for that championship. It's going to be hard. I mean, Grant's riding really good. You have Nick, Josh Toth, Angus. There's a handful of us that can be on the podium every single race. And it's just going to be minimizing mistakes and making sure that you're there at the end.
I love when I talk to any of you guys that are doing the 3-hour race, how gnarly it gets. Caleb always told me about blackout mode, where he doesn't even remember the last hour because it's just full everything you've got left in the tank. And I didn't know if that was just a him thing, or do you get to that point too? Or is it like that last hour, that last lap, especially, is it just everything?
Yeah, I mean, you get to a point that last lap where, especially if you're in a battle for the lead, I think it was in 2023 at John Penton. Me and Liam Draper, I think, passed each other like 3 or 4 times within like the last 4 miles of the track. And it was like, I looked at my heart rate data after the race, and it was like 190s, like you're just absolutely peaked out, and it's everything that you got. And you don't remember all the small things you hit that last lap, anything. It's just, going for it. So it is crazy. Once you're in a battle like that, what your mind and what your body can do.
So, Cody, we talked a little bit. You said your goal is to win races and battle for this championship. Self-assessment time here. I know you're one who's not shy about. He leans back in his chair and he laughs, Weege, because this guy, I've never met anybody who could be on the podium, or we can be over in Spain and he can have a day where he's in the top 5 in tests in ISDE, and he's like, man, I sucked today. So when we talk about self-assessment, squarely, no BS. What do you need to do to week in and week out battle for those wins and put yourself in position to battle for that championship? What are you missing?
Yeah, I think honestly for me, what I struggle with sometimes is just piecing the track together. And I think that's one of the things that I need to get better at is piecing the track together, finding the lines. And honestly, you can't really afford to make those first lap mistakes. Like this last race in Alabama, like, dude, I buried my bike within the first 3 miles and I'm way back. And it just makes it such a harder race on yourself because you're trying to play that catch up game while the other guys are already up to the back of XC1 and they're riding their lines. And I just need to honestly, I think for me, piece the tracks together, ride like how I do during the week, and get good starts. Like I don't know. It's all of them go hand in hand, but yeah, I good starts, no mistakes, and hopefully that leads to winning.
Yeah. Do you feel like if you could just get yourself in the position, then you can take care of it? It's more staying in that position or getting into that position, not getting the bad start, not bearing it early, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think for sure when you start up front, it's a lot easier to stay up front. I think that's a big thing. There's a couple guys, and there are races where you can get bad starts and you can charge all the way to the front. But yeah, I think if I can position myself to be, in that battle into that last hour, that yeah, I believe that I stand a strong chance at being able to close that close it off and hopefully win a couple of these.
So we got a couple minutes left here, Cody. Earlier we talked with Wyatt Wilkin, and his dad is a bit of a character in GNCC racing. Common theme here, maybe with you today. I'm sure your parents will tune in and watch this. Hopefully they watch from the beginning so they get to hear about Shark 7. Tell us a little bit about your mom and dad, and I do want you to reference your dad's famous hat and and how you can recognize your dad at the races and how
Yeah.
enthusiastic they are about GNCC.
Yeah, no, for sure. My parents have been obviously the number one supporters of me growing up. Now I have my wife Jade, who she's a huge supporter too. But my parents, I mean, they were the people that pretty much got me to where they are. My dad doesn't probably look like the typical dirt bike racer dad. He looks more like he belongs in a Harley gang more than more a biker gang, I guess I should say. But yeah, he's just a big dude. He laid concrete for a living, so yeah, just I think he's like one of the strongest guys I know. I remember being a little kid, and he would always talk about when he was weightlifting and all this stuff, and he would say I think his max bench was like 425 or something, and I would always give him crap. I'm like, no way you bench that. It's like, yeah, we had shirts that said 400-pound club, like that. We got a 400-pound bench. So I'm messing with him the one day, telling him like, no, you don't. You don't have the shirt. And sure enough, like he pulled out the shirt, like, and sleeves cut off of it. My dad is a guy that does not believe in sleeves on t-shirts. But and then the famous hat that my Johnny's referencing is a millwright hat. When he was younger, he used to have super long hair, and he would tuck all of his hair up in this millwright hat, this welding hat, and he still wears it. That's the only hat that he'll wear besides a beanie in the winter. But yeah, you can pick him out pretty easily in a crowd. He's not hard to miss. And then
I love it.
yeah, and then my mom, she's just kind of the glue that holds it together. She keeps him in line. If it wasn't for her, I don't think he would be able to make it to the races. So yeah, without her, I mean, she was a huge help for all my racing and helping with the racing, getting us to the races and all the hotels and everything that she had to spend time printing out the directions to the races before TomToms and GPS and stuff. So yeah, without those guys, I wouldn't have been able to be here. So hats, I can't thank them enough, really.
Love it. It's such a part of the deal there that
Yeah.
goes on to that campground on the weekends. Now, I hope you don't have beef with DeFeo because we're letting him in for his 20 minutes right now. So you're about to go head to head. Are we good or are we going to have like a rumble here?
No, Nick's a good kid. I like him. We spent quite a bit of time last year with together at Fetty's, and he's a good kid to be around. And yeah, he's a good dude.
All right. That's what he says on camera, at least. Well, thanks. Thanks, Cody. Get back to hanging out with Johnny after this.
Cody's gonna come walking in here at some point and start talking about his interview, and I'm like, buddy, we're still on.
We're still on.
That's right. That's right. How did I do? Dude, I'm still on. I'm on with DeFeo. Hey, Nick, can you flip your phone horizontal? There we go.
Yes,
Cody,
sir.
good job, man. And good luck at Coker.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for letting me join.
No problem. Thanks, man. Yep.
See you later.
We keep rolling on here. We're keeping the theme on XC2. We got Nick DeFeo, who, look, I thought I was brilliant as he fixes his camera here. I thought I was brilliant for wanting to interview you this week. And then I see a pop up that you already did Tuesday Toolbox interview on the GNCC site. So, bro, you're blowing up right now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Did it feel actually, I mean, you make this historic opener this year where you not only win the overall from XC2, but you're the first one to cross the line first from the second row. Does life feel different at that point? Do you start getting blown up more, or is this actually just like a normal thing?
I mean, it still feels normal, but I mean, like a lot of people come up to me at the GNCCs that like barely nobody came up to me
Yes.
at Big Buck. Like some people will like DM me and be like, "It's cool that I didn't even know your name."
Yeah.
So like it's like some things have changed, but like everything else has basically been the same.
Well, how many people actually know your name is Nick DeFeo, or are you just T-Rex? Like, do people actually know your name?
I don't even know. A lot of people just come up to me and say T-Rex.
That's what I thought. Dude, I didn't know. It probably was 6 years before I actually knew what your actual name was. I'm like, there's a kid on a Cowie Mini that wins, and his name is T-Rex. That's all I knew. So,
Yeah.
Well, you had it on your jersey, Nick. Give us the origins of that name. Where does it? A lot of people know in the GNCC circle, but the people that don't, like, where does this come from?
It comes from when I was like 6. I had a big Liat neck brace on, and I couldn't get my goggles or my helmet, so my dad always had to put them on. So I had like short arms, I was like stuck. So then we put it on the back of my jersey, and then Mikey always saw T-Rex. So then it's just he'd always just call it T-Rex.
It just stuck.
Yeah.
hey, as I told you, Nick, man, somebody called the Racer X office once and asked for Jason Weigandt, and here we are to this day. So it happens. But what sucks
is that where Weege came from?
dude, that's it. It was like, hey, the Weege, line 4 for you.
What?
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean,
I
Johnny,
never
you
knew
know from your dad, it was like I was on the phone all day, every day. So everyone was calling the line, trying to guess what the name was. But here's the thing, Nick. People probably think it's because it's like you're ferocious out on the track. You're gonna like eat up the competition. It has nothing to do with your actual racing performance.
Not at all.
It's just little mini Nick couldn't put his own goggles on, so
That's
Dad
it.
had to get one.
Yeah,
I
that's
like it.
basically.
Look, so the
I
headline
thought
is
maybe-
winning that first race. You've had some issues. It's not that I don't think you've ridden well, and the next two did not replicate this. Just talk about some of the issues you had to deal with the last two.
Yeah, Florida, I had my front brake, like the adjuster nut, came loose, and it backed in all the way to my bar, so I didn't have front brakes for the first lap in Florida, and I didn't really know what it was until the front brake system was already off my bike. So I mean, it could have been a 20-second fix, but it turned into like a 3-minute fix. And then in Talladega, I was riding good. Me and Grant were up front, and I mean, I kind of still up there. It wasn't just a fluke at Big Buck. And with like I think 4 miles to go, my bike just shut off and quit. So wasn't gas.
That's what we were told.
Yeah, well, it like happened right at the checkpoint, and I told the check lady, I was like, I need your radio, because I thought it was gas. Like I completely blanked. I thought I didn't pit because right before we went to the start, my mechanic Trent was like, we might not pit, and I was just like in the zone the whole race, and I forgot I totally pitted. So
sorry, my internet's not working great right now.
Oh, we're getting Jason in and out of
Yes.
out of connectivity.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was you Johnny, you were just asking about going over to the podium even after the bad result there.
Yeah, and then he said he was there mainly to pick up his whole shot check for XC2.
It looked like you were a great sportsman.
But while he was there,
Yes.
I knew he got the whole shot, and I knew he was over there for that. But I gotta say, Nick, I mean, I give you credit. You had a smile on your face to get that close to the finish line, which would have been very valuable points and a solid finish. Shows a lot of maturity to stand there. Thank your sponsors despite a disappointing day. It speaks volumes about your potential and your marketability for the future.
yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to be there, but I had to.
It's buddy. Let me tell you a little something. What you want to do and what you should do are often two different things, and making the right choice between those two can really set a much better path for you in your career.
Yeah, you probably don't even realize this, but like after the great run at the first race, there's gonna be more eyeballs and like, what's this kid all about? And what is he like? I don't know if these things run through your mind. You mentioned that it was good to ride well at round 3, even it's to prove it wasn't a fluke. The round 1 thing, like, do you think about backing it up, or there's more pressure after winning one, or anything like that? Or you seem to me like a dude that's just cruising through life. Do you think about any of this stuff?
I mean, I'm just telling myself I don't want to just be a one race guy.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I wanna go out there and do my best at the rest of the races, and I want to back it up. But I mean, I'm not gonna be saying I want to go get another overall. I mean, I want to, but
Yep.
like I just I want to prove to myself that I can win the class, and it was that big buck just wasn't just a one-off race. That it was just every XC1 guy back down, and they broke, and it just the XC2 guys went up. But yeah.
I don't know
So
though. The way it's going, Johnny, it's like you might have to win the overall to win XC2. That's kind of the way it's kind of where it's at right now.
very true. And obviously, Nick, we're standing here 3 rounds in, so we know what your results are. We know you have that historic win. Obviously, a very high bar to set for not only this season but for your career. Let's pretend. Let's play a little game of pretend. Let's go back to the second week of February, 2025. You're getting ready to go to Big Buck for round one. You're finishing up your training. Where's your heads at? What are Nick's goals? And don't try to take what you now know out of the equation. Do you remember what you were thinking, what your goals were, and kind of what your expectations of yourself were? And please try to be honest with us. Don't give us the I'm coming out to win the whole dang thing. Like what were you thinking?
Well, it was the week after the NEPG, and I thought I was going like really good into the NEPG. Like I was pretty confident, thought I was gonna win it. I got sixth, and then I basically just went into the GNCC. I was like, all right, well,
And that wasn't sixth overall, correct?
no, that was just sixth in Pro 2.
In class, in Pro 2. So
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just going in. I was like, top 5 is okay. I mean, I was like, because I did 2 races last year and I got 5th at Penn, and then I broke at Ironman. So I was like, top 5 would be good. Be happy with it. Hopefully, I can at least battle with like Cody or Gus for a little bit, and then just manage my way to the finish. But I mean, I was just leading up to the race. I think leading up to the NEPG, I put so much pressure on myself, to probably go out and win it. And then for Big Buck, I absolutely did not care for it. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna go ride. And then, I mean, I just rode.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it that way because when Stu, your teammate who ends up winning the overall at the third race, he actually referenced that. He's like, when Nick pulled away from me at round 1, it looked like he was just riding. And I decided to try that for a little bit. So yeah, it was like, was it almost the slower to go faster thing?
Yeah, I feel like in mud races, I basically just tell myself it's just riding dirt. I'm just out there for like a trail ride pace. I mean, I feel like a trail ride pace helps better in mud.
Yeah.
Because you're not like rushing everything, and you're not absolutely wadding yourself or getting stuck. So you're scoping around and just looking.
you referenced obviously, you did pretty well in the 1 or 2 XC races you did last year. You did well in one, you had a DNF in the other, but you had a couple standout rides last year from the A class where you did very well in the overall. Interestingly enough, mud races seem to be your forte. And then when we're actually looking at it, the Mountaineer, which was not a mud race at all, it was a dust race. You did very well at that one. So, what is it that you think about the extreme conditions lends itself to your riding style, your mindset that you get, I guess, above average for yourself results?
I mean, I'd basically just say I'm just gonna go ride my dirt bike. I mean, we all do it for fun, and I'm just there for fun. I mean, if it's a bad condition, you're still there to just ride your dirt bike. I mean, if I didn't want to ride my dirt bike, I'd just say I'd quit.
So yeah, so it's not in your head. Like some other guys are like, dude, I got to ride this stuff for 3 hours. Doesn't bother you as much.
No, I mean, like, not a lot of people get to go ride their dirt bike for a job. So, like, you just go in with the attitude of, I get to ride my dirt bike for basically for free.
It's just,
Well,
Johnny,
and
how
that
many
little
guys have you told this for like 20 years over? This is the attitude you have to try to adapt to. He already has it.
yeah. Yeah, well, it's very true. I mean, your mindset on the outset of things can have a big impact on your results for the day. And when you come in thinking, oh, it's raining, I dread this, or oh, it's dusty, I dread this, you're usually going to manifest some type of a impact on your results. When you just come in and say, hey, same conditions for everybody, as you said it. Nick says he's going to go ride his dirt bike for free, minus the fact that he gets paid a salary and bonuses and all that. And that's a good thing. Like, not losing sight of that. Hey, if I was here and I was paying for this and I was working a full-time job, I'd still be wanting to go out here because this is what I want to do. So perspective, man, it's pretty unique for someone your age with your experience level to have that mindset in the tougher races.
That's cool. Talk about your background here. There's just this crazy influx of all you guys from New England area. Now the ages are so far apart that it's not like you were all following each other. I mean, I know that a bunch, Ben Kelly, Josh Toth were buddies, and Gerard, they all knew each other. Now it's like a whole nother group. Just talk about your background and where you started racing and how you ended up in GNCC.
Yeah, I started riding when I was 3, but when I used to live in Connecticut.
Yep.
I lived like 45 minutes from Josh.
Yep.
And didn't really know who Josh was right then. But then we did this same local series called Netra. And then I guess our parents like became friends. And then when I was on a 65, Josh and both his brothers came over to ride like one day. I was like 5 or 6. And then, I mean, it's just, it was just cool to just have them come over because they were the pros when I was that young.
Yeah.
But then I still live in Connecticut, and I rode J Days, and that's where I first like knew who Ben was, and Ben and Johnny. And I just like looking at Johnny because he was just all over the place, just wicked everywhere. And I always looked up to those guys, and now it's cool to see that all the guys from New England are coming down, and then there's still some guys up there that are starting to move down and come up, and then yeah, I mean I basically followed Josh to Battery Park because he used to ride over there, and then I saw that he posted on his Instagram one time, and I was like, I want to go ride there. So then we rode over. Me and my parents rode over there when we were like, I think 14, and I was like 14. And in 2020, we just moved down, and then that's when basically everybody moved down from New England. So bringing the rock roots to the sand.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, those are gnarly tracks, right? Those Netra tracks.
Yeah, they're basically like hard enduro, but for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. You can handle that. You can handle anything.
Yeah.
Right, Johnny.
So, you referenced the Netra, and obviously you pointed out gnarly tracks. Having that attitude to attack the tough races is one thing, but having the skill set to do it, do you obviously 4 years now you've been living kind of down here in the South. Do you try to seek that terrain out to ride it when you can, or do you feel like you just have this knowledge base of riding the roots and the rocks and the slippery stuff? We noticed, especially at Big Buck, a comment that I think a lot of people made is every time we saw you on camera, every time people saw you on the track, your feet were on the pegs and you were just carrying more speed. Do you feel the need that that's something you need to practice going forward now that you live down south, or you think you kind of got it handled?
Like I mean, you still need to practice it, but I mean, I think I got it pretty handled because when I lived over there, I really wanted to ride hard enduro. Like that's all I wanted to ride. I wanted a trials bike. That's also what I didn't really want to go fast. I just wanted to ride hard enduro and a trials bike. So I mean, I think that helps with the standing up because helps with like the peg movements, like dropping your heels and getting more traction. But I think the standing up and finding your flow part at Big Buck was just probably because I wanted to ride hard enduro when I was younger, and know all that stuff. But since I'm here staying at the Shoals right now, so I've been finding stuff with Stu and been hitting hill climbs and finding stupid rocks. Me and Caleb Wood are making an enduro an enduro cross track right now. So just finding stuff to play.
Interesting time. I actually didn't know about the hard enduro ambitions. I didn't know. I knew you were from the New England area originally, but now all of this, it's more than just an attitude. You've got some skills in these conditions, and so any deals with team owner Stu or team manager Ryan Sipes that if you win another race, you get to go do like a hard enduro or anything like that? Any negotiations ongoing?
Well, I mean, the two stroke's coming out for the Cowie, so I mean, might as well just get one and then somehow end up at a hard enduro. Might happen.
You heard it here first, folks.
Good thinking. I was going to ask about deals with your team. Your team really leaned in on the Talladega Nights stuff. Did you reluctantly do some of these skits, or was some of it your idea, or were they like, all right, we're going to do this, and this is you have to put out the fake fire on Stu? Did they tell you this, or did you want to do it? How did this all come about?
I guess Stu was just really in the mood for like the week coming up, and I was sitting in my camper making food for Saturday lunch and Sunday lunch, and Stu calls me. He's like, "Get over to the rig, bring your jumpsuit." I was like, "Okay." I mean, I'm not any excuse to wear my jumpsuit. I'll wear it.
Oh, okay. So it was not reluctant.
I love that thing. And then we basically was like, "We're doing this skit," and I was like, What part of the movie is it from?" He said, "You're putting the fire out of me. I'm Murky Bobby, and I'm Kale, or whatever his name was. Thanks, Cal.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm down for anything. But I mean, none of it was really my idea. I was just there to do things. I'm adding to my resume. I'm an actor, a model, and a dirt bike racer.
That's the attitude, man. He really nailed it. Yeah, I figured it was probably Stu's idea. I was just wondering if you were all in on it. No problem. You were whatever they asked. You're good.
100% was all in.
That's awesome. All right, last thing. It's about 1:00 here, so we'll let you go. But there is another race coming up next weekend. That, like you said, learning rocks for the sand. That'll be what you're doing for Coker. What's your thoughts going into that one?
I like Coker. It's like 45 minutes from my house right now. I usually do decently okay there. I just like how fast that track is. And I like the sand.
That's funny to hear that, because I was going to say you have all this, I want to do hard enduro road trials. Yeah, there has not been a problem adapting to the more motocross type, wide open, fast stuff. That's been okay.
Yeah, I mean, it took it. I'm not that good at motocross. That's where my skills are still lacking.
Yeah, but the sand's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I usually like riding the sand, but I don't like training in the sand.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But you're not putting huge expectations. You're just gonna go ride your dirt bike and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go ride my dirt bike and hope for a top 3 in class.
Look at that, Johnny. Go back to our ATV guys and go tell Josh Merritt some of this stuff.
Yeah. And Nick's not worried about if he drops one number that he's going to retire, but
yeah.
Sometimes you just let things happen, and good things do happen. Nick, huge congrats on the win at round 1. Sure, it won't be the last time that we see you, on the box and even in the center in that XC2, and we'll be having a lot of fun watching your career progress. Thanks for coming on with us today.
All right, thank you.